Hey, what up YouTube and welcome back to a new video with Rams Fan YT. In today's video, I'm doing something slightly new for the channel of looking at each of the teams promoted and relegated in the top 10 tiers of the English non-league football and also the Football League when it comes around to it. It's just something a little bit interesting, something new to the channel. And I think it's going to become... I'm going to probably get about 5 episodes of it probably out because I won't be able to do them all in one sitting, of course. The first team, we're doing it in random order, but the first team I selected is the relegated ones, as typical with the first one. There's going to be more relegated ones than promoted, just because it's harder for teams to pick up points at the bottom, so tend to get stranded a bit. And the first one I got is City of Liverpool. The Perps have got relegated back to Tier 9 after a pretty torrid season, spending most of it at the foot of the table. It was officially confirmed on the 8th of March following a 2-0 defeat to Newcastle Town. It will most likely mean a return to the North West Counties League, where they were last in 2019-20 season, just before the outbreak, during the COVID-stricken season, of course. Another team relegated is Blythe Spartans. The Croft Park club were condemned to spending next season in the Northern Premier League East Division following a home defeat to Warrington Rylands. That loss marked a new low to a pretty dismal season for the men in green and white after they had won just 3 out of 35 games when relegation was confirmed and have now suffered consecutive relegations for the first time in the club's long and proud history. Off the pitch, it has been a season marred in controversy with a managerial merry-go-round, with old owners leaving the club in an awful state, and it is now community-owned. They now look to build a squad that would be competitive in the league below and hope to not continue in the downward spiral which they're currently under, having suffered a second consecutive relegation. I went to Blythe Spartans twice this season, I believe. In the FA Cup against Bury, they were smacked about, losing 3-0. And against Macclesfield, they showed a bit more there, but it was a pretty awful game considering both sides were in relegation zone. I wouldn't have expected a great game, but it's still Tier 7 football, so it wasn't great. Another team relegated is Long Melford. After several seasons fighting at the wrong end of the table, relegation to Tier 10 was confirmed, I believe, on the 15th of March, but it must be said it's been an inevitability for almost the whole season, with them currently only sitting on 12 points and having a goal difference of minus 58. Another team relegated is Brimscombe and Thrupp. Tuffley Rovers won 3-0 over Brimscombe and Thrupp, which sealed relegation for the Lily Whites on the 15th of March. So unless there are any reprieves, Brimscombe and Thrupp will be playing in the Hellenic League Division 1 next season, which I'm pretty certain is almost guaranteed. Overall, it's been a pretty disastrous season for the Lily Whites, whereby they've conceded a horrendous total of 123 goals. Talk about poor defence. Another team relegated is Goole. Having been riding their luck for the last couple of seasons with reprieves and marginally just staying up, Goole are finally relegated to the Northern Counties East League Division 1. Having conceded 101 goals this season, it was somewhat inevitable that the Vikings would be relegated. Another team from that league which has been relegated, and the one which has actually confirmed both the relegation slots in that league, is Winterton Rangers. On the 8th of March, relegation was confirmed for Winterton after they lost 1-0 to Frickley Athletic, the only team they could mathematically overtake. Frickley can breathe a bit easier now. They have ensured another season in the division, whereas Winterton are currently bottom of the league with 2 games to play, and they need 4 points to at least ensure that they aren't last place. Go out with a little bit of pride, Another team relegated is Welton Rovers. Welton Rovers were the first team to be relegated from Step 5 across England, and they have been atrocious, picking up only 3 points at this point of the season and conceding 166 goals. They were lucky not to be relegated last season, with an equally atrocious Millbrook being the only team relegated. But you got to say, when you've only picked up 3 points all season, it isn't really much of a surprise that a team like that's going to be relegated. And They'll probably continue going downwards before they come back up. It takes a while to recover from such a shocking season. A team which resigned rather than got relegated was Southam United. With the Hellenic League Division 1 club struggling financially and the chairman stepping down this season, they didn't pay their bills, and that meant they couldn't play at home. And that meant to an increased cost of playing every game away, which meant it was really just unsustainable to continue operating at Tier 10. This is obviously gutting for fans, and I hope they don't end up outside the non-league structure completely. But the first team have been folded, so it is now only juniors, and I must say the future looks pretty uncertain at the moment. I could see them ending up in the Oxfordshire Senior League, maybe a couple of leagues down from a main one, maybe Tier 12 or something like that, but not looking good for Warwickshire Town at the moment. Another team which resigned is Walsall Wood. And the reason cited for Walsall Wood's resignation is a lack of cash. But, I mean, the owner hasn't been very transparent at all. I mean, he's not really spoken, just leaving it to his committee overall. The Northern Premier League has said how sad it is about the situation. Clearly is standing in solidarity with the supporters. The manager, Ian Long, had resigned over unpaid wages, despite them being 10th when he resigned. And the academies and ladies team do still run, so there is hope for revival, but at what level is unknown at this date. FA rules would determine it would have to be a maximum level of Tier 10, so the Midland League Division 1, but who knows. I mean, credit must go to both Chasetown and Rushall Olympic as clubs, because they did choose to accept Walsall Wood season tickets. So I think that's a very heartwarming gesture from them, showing the non-league family at its absolute best. So good on them. Making every cloud, has a silver lining, even though it's a pretty desperate time altogether. Another team relegated is Sheringham. Sheringham are, as I record this video, on 9 points, with only one win all season and a minus 60 goal difference. And therefore, it's a little surprising, isn't it, that they will be little surprise rather that they will be playing at Tier 10 next season. It seems a high turnover of players and management seems to be the main reason for a relegation, and also it's quite an annoying place. I think it's on the very north of Cornwall, and teams in that league are mainly in Suffolk, so it's a bit of a difficult one to get to altogether. We've got a relegated question mark here of Torrington, and it's always hard to tell who will get relegated from Tier 10. With reprieves aplenty, mainly due to the quality of ground for the league below. But with 4 games left to go, the point gap is too much to guarantee not to finish in the bottom 3 and leave themselves open to relegation to the Devon Football League. Another team which there may be questions about whether they're being relegated is Wednesfield. A long-standing member of the West Midlands Regional League. So when it was replaced in Tier 10 by the Midland League Division 1, it was inevitable that they would want to return to the West Midlands Regional League. I am, of course, joking, but having conceded 101 goals this season, it would not be surprising to see them return to that league. This relegation does come to be as quite a bit of a shock. Having finished last season in 6th place, it has been quite a fall-off. I can't really quite get my head around it, and there doesn't seem much to be on the internet about reasons why this sudden nosedive in form occurred. So if you are a Wednesfield fan, do let me know the reasons why. There probably is some. Another team relegated from the Midland League Division 1 potentially is Paget Rangers. They were reprieved last season, actually, as no one was relegated from Midland League Division 1. So I don't think it's that surprising to see Paget Rangers yet again having their fate decided by the FA. There must surely be a better way of knowing the fate of the clubs before the end of the season. It's not even fair on teams which do finish in the bottom 3 because they've got to prepare as well. I thought the 109 goals conceded last season was bad, but Paget have only picked up 7 points and conceded 158 goals this season. So, turns out you can be worse, even if you are pretty bad. I would assume the Midland League Division 2 is where the club will be relegated, and I'm pretty certain that league does have clubs which are capable of promotion. So I would say that they are going to be relegated this time round. Another team relegated is Welling Town, potentially. I mean, Welling are not experiencing a great deal of good football at the moment, and I'm sure in a future video I'll probably be mentioning Welling United having been relegated from the National League South. However, if Welling Town do get relegated, as I said about Tier 10, it's the FA's hands now. It would mean back-to-back relegations for the Boots. And I would say it is a lesson of clubs who catapult themselves forward too quickly. They went from Tier 12 to Tier 9 in 2 seasons. I mean, you may be answering, how does that maths work? Well, somehow they got promoted from Tier 12 to Tier 10 in one go, so double promotion. It probably didn't help they had to change home grounds during pre-season due to K Sports moving to Sheppey and basically leaving the ground unable to be used. Another team in the Southern Counties League Division, Southern Counties East League Division 1 to potentially be relegated is Meridian Valley Park. With them finishing in the bottom 3 last season, but reprieved by the FA, it feels like it's about time that they got relegated. I must say, especially seeing they've only picked up 3 points this season. Ironically, they haven't been defensively that bad in comparison to some this season I've already mentioned. They've only conceded 63, which is still not great, but they cannot score for their lives is the main reason. They've only scored 14 goals, hence why they have failed to register a win this season. Another team potentially relegated is Gillingham Town. Having only picked up 8 points this season and conceding 126 goals, the Gills leave themselves in the FA's hands of whether they get relegated or not, basically. They also received a reprieve last season and have seemed to struggle since they got promoted from the Dorset League in 2021. Washington are another team open to relegation, and it seems impossible that they're actually going to get relegated because it seems like this side gets reprieved every single season. So despite only gaining 11 points and conceding 135 goals, I ain't ruling them out staying up regardless. Although I would imagine that the Wearside League football is calling for a side that has struggled to be competitive over the last few seasons. And there are some teams which have applied, which do have grounds which meet the requirement in the league below. The case with the Wearside League is that it is so very competitive. So you could see back-to-back relegations being a plausible option. You just need to look at the Brandons, the Willingtons, and the Durham Cities of this world to see how easy it is just to carry on tumbling downwards. Another team potentially relegated from Northern League Division 2 is Grangetown Boys Club. Grangetown have struggled to adapt to regional football as opposed to county-based football, having been promoted last season from the Northern Riding Senior League. The North Riding League is known as probably the weakest of the 3 feeder leagues to the Northern League, and this has proven why, with only 19 points and 113 goals conceded. It's up to the FA whether Grangetown's stint in Tier 10 is over after only 1 season. Another team potentially relegated is Skelmersdale United. Relegation is always a slippery slope, and having been relegated from the Northern Premier League Premier Division due to ground grading in 2022-23, they've slept through Tier 8, Tier 9, and now it's likely that they may do so with Tier 10. An absolute free-for-all, it seems, just going absolutely shooting down the leagues at the moment. New management has done nothing to stop this decline, so if there is relegation, Skelmersdale will inevitably get it, having only picked up 8 points this season and conceding 108 goals. It will be interesting to see how the team can improve to stop the rot. Obviously, you don't want them to continue tumbling down the leagues. Another team from Northwest Counties League Division 1 North to potentially be relegated is Garstang. Having only picked up 19 points, Garstang have put themselves at the mercy of FA. They finished 16th last season, so this isn't the first time that they've risked relegation. And there doesn't seem that many teams in the Northwest have actually applied for promotion. So it's yet to be seen whether it will bear any fruits or whether they actually get relegated or not. Carterton are another team which are potentially going to be relegated. When Droitwich Spa beat Carterton 2-0, that left relegation to be determined by the FA, with performances not making a difference as they will finish in the bottom 3. The possibility of a reprieve is higher, though, due to Southam's resignation that I mentioned earlier in the video, but it does still put themselves at risk. Another team relegated potentially is Swaffham Town, with only 9 points, 129 goals conceded, and only 17 goals scored. Swaffham must surely be relegated now. With a reprieve last season, it's hardly a time of celebration to be in a position where the FA decides your fate. From a non-league community, people would rather need a market reserves to be relegated, and I would be in agreement. Unfortunately, the point gap is too great for the Peddlers to overtake them, and I must say that considering how bad Swaffham have been as well, it's only fair that they do get relegated alongside. Need a market. Let's be a bit more positive, though. Let's talk about a promotion, shall we? I feel like I've been dwelling a lot on the negatives at the moment. I'm going to talk the first one about Nuneaton Town. The reformed Nuneaton Town have unsurprisingly won promotion at the first attempt as they start their road for recovery, winning the Midland League Division 1. Nuneaton have 99 points from 39 games, the highest anywhere in the country, whilst their 118 goals make them the joint highest in the country alongside Bury. The achievements of joint managers Russell Dodd and Darren Acton of breezing through the league with only 2 defeats is probably only a short-term outcome of a club who was financially stricken last season. I mean, it's always nice to talk about promotion, especially for a team with so much difficulty over recent years, with a history of Nuneaton football never being easy. Having the greatness of founding the Alliance Premier League, which is now the National League, but after withdrawing from the Southern League Premier Division Central last season and then being wound up by HMRC, they were refounded and placed in Tier 10, and they still need funds to return to Liberty Way, as they've been currently ground sharing at Bedford United. Another team promoted is Milton Keynes Irish. Having swept aside Kempston Rovers 3-0, MK Irish have brought the Irish luck and won the Spartan South Midlands Premier Division in style, with only 1 defeat all season. This makes it 2 promotions in 4 years, and after the disappointment of losing the playoff semi-finals last season, it is great. Well, though the fans would be saying it's probably great to put that finally to bed and go up again. I would imagine they would be placed in the Southern League Division 1 Central, and who knows where their ceiling truly is, with much more organically growing the team as well than MK Dons. Another team promoted is Silsden. Silsden are the Northern Counties East Premier Division champions after beating Pickering Town 2-1 on the 22nd of March. The fight has been fierce, with Fackley as the initial challengers, then Golcar United and Hallam, until the business end of the season. But a wonderful 5-1 win against local rivals Ecclesfield United last week pretty much confirmed promotion. They'll face rivalries against Bradford Park Avenue, Liversedge and Brighouse Town next season in the Northern Premier League Division 1 East. A team which is potentially open to relegation is Yorkshire Amateur. Yorkshire Amateur have been sliding for a while, having been relegated in 2022-23 to the Northern Counties East League Division 1 last season, where they finished 21st in Tier 10. But they were reprieved, but yet again they do face the FA's judgment. This time they are in last place with 120 goals conceded and only 15 points. It looks like the Yorkshire Amateur League is calling a side with the same name. A team which is also confirmed relegated is God Manchester Rovers. They have struggled to be competitive in the United Counties League Premier Division South, having only picked up 12 points this season. Relegation, as it is, would usually be a hard pill to swallow, but seeing their local rival St Neots Town virtually claim the title in all but name at the moment of time is even harder. Another team relegated is Spelthorne Sports, or Spelthorne, I'm not sure how you quite say that. With only 13 points picked up this season, it hasn't been good enough for Spelthorne to be anywhere near safety. And I think the issues seem to be a lack of leadership. With Tier 10 football next season, they do need a rebuild. But the club don't seem to be mentioning anything about relegation, just the next fixture, which is coming up on the calendar. Not great. Another team relegated is Hanley Town. Having lost this weekend, just gone by, Hanley have been relegated to Tier 9. And Hanley have been a team who has been on the up for decades, it seems now. This season, you could probably put down as a bit of an off-season, but that does come at a cost, of course, having an off-season, which will get you relegated. You need to rebuild, but there does actually seem to be some plans to get back as soon as possible. Certainly got the infrastructure of the club to do so. Another team relegated is Bowers and Pitsea. Having lost 4-0 to Cray Wanderers, relegation has been confirmed for the Essex-based team. It seems now that Bowers and Pitsea have become a yo-yo club, having been relegated from the Isthmian League in 2022-23. Then the following season they won the playoffs to return and have now been relegated again. So will they win the Isthmian League division, North Division next season and get promotion? We'll see. They may well do, or they may not. Let's go back to a promoted team. We've got Quorn. Saturday, the 22nd of March, 2025, will be a date forever etched in Quorn's history. Although it had pretty much been a formality for a number of weeks now, the Leicestershire-based side finally won the Northern Premier League Midland Division title and secured promotion to the 7th tier for the first time in its history. Quorn sealed the title by beating Wellingborough Town 3-0 to win the title with 6 games to go. It was a nervous wait to claim the title on the day as Corby Town were held to a 0-0 draw against Coleshill Town, with celebrations ensuing. It's been an incredible achievement for everyone involved with Quorn, who are on 89 points from 34 matches and having only lost once all season. Quorn ended last season losing the playoff semi-finals against Anstey Nomads and started the season as outside favourites for the title. In fact, Quorn were unbeaten in the first 24 games, winning 21 and drawing 3. Although they lost 3-2 to Long Eaton United, come on you Derbyshire teams. Ending the unbeaten streak, they went on to win the next 7 out of 8 games and have been far too consistent to be caught by their rivals and are now 22 points clear of Corby. Quorn have scored a staggering 95 goals, averaging 3 a game, with no team in the top 8 tiers scoring more than Fox Hunters. Their defensive record has also been excellent, conceding just 23 times. Overall, they have had an astonishing season. Another team promoted is Macclesfield, one which is grabbing the media attention at the moment because Robbie Savage is both owner and manager, and he has brought new life into the town of Macclesfield. With a refounded team in 2020 and being placed in the North West Counties League in 2021-22, the rise has been rapid. Macclesfield beat Bamber Bridge 2-1 to ensure promotion from the Northern Premier League Premier Division. This means that they'll play in the National League North next season, just 2 promotions from the Football League, which is surely where they hope to return to in the near future. This is Savage's first season actually as the manager of the Phoenix club, and they have scored 88 goals and only conceded 26 this season, with a 20-point gap over second. With Savage also being owner, he falls into the weird position of being able to sack himself. And the only person who I can think of who is in a similar position, or the same position, is Mark White at Dorking Wanderers. But it's not a very common thing at all. The team which has been relegated from the highest level at the moment is Ebbsfleet United, with relegation being confirmed on Saturday just gone after a 3-3 draw with Aldershot Town. Their fate has been inevitable for most of the season, it must be said. The draw was spirited, but with the Kent side having only won twice all season in their 39 games, they are 22 points off safety, and with the writing being on the wall for a long time for the bottom side. With losing 25 games and a meagre 18 points from safety was a pretty... having lost 25 games, I mean, it's pretty much... It was always pretty much impossible for them not to play in the National League South next season. Ebbsfleet started the season losing 5-1 to Gateshead. That meant they started the season in last place. And the first point was a 0-0 draw with Braintree Town, but that was the 5th game of the season, and they were already 3 points adrift at the bottom of the table. Danny Searle was sacked in September with a single point, and the new manager bounce of Harry Watling was a 1-0 win against Hartlepool United, but then they went on a 34 games in all competitions without a win. With relegation inevitable, the winless run ended against Fylde on the 15th of March. I just going to quickly check because I think I missed out one of the leagues in Tier 10. Okay, no one's been officially relegated in that position, I don't think. Because they're... Are they? I think they have, but I'll do it in the next video if... because... I mean, I want to keep this as like under half an hour, pretty short, snappy videos. So yeah, if you did enjoy, do please subscribe. I'm very interested in wrestling non-league, but I don't often cover it too much on my channel. So it's great to be able to get this opportunity to do so today. I'm going to continue doing that for the bit of the rest of the season as well, till the tail end. But if you did enjoy, do please subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye for now.